Well, good day. Welcome to BPSU special podcast series in celebration of International Women's Day 2023. I am your honorary host, Jamila Lodge. It's a pleasure to meet you. We will be continuing our conversation about equity in the workplace, and I am pleased to have you with us here. Welcome, Marilyn Cameron. You are the Benefits Supervisor for the Department of Employee and Organizational Development. Got that right?
Yes.
DEOD.
DEOD.
That's what we say.
Yes.
Okay. So before we get into the questions, if you would just please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Good morning. Yes.
I am the Benefits Supervisor for the Department of DEOD. I'm actually referred to for this purpose as a seasoned employee.
Okay.
Having worked in government in the same department, the Accountant General's Department, for 49 years.
Yes, ma'am. That is seasoning. She got all the seasonings, okay?
So basically, as the benefits supervisor, I'm responsible for a team of 4, including myself.
Okay.
And our responsibilities are to ensure that government employees and Quengo employees are enrolled in the government benefits appropriately.
Okay.
We administer contributions for the Public Service Superannuation Act. That's the pension act that governs the government employees. Also, the ministers and members of the Legislature Pension Act for members of the House of Assembly and the Senate.
Okay.
So it's our responsibility to make sure that persons are properly enrolled so that when their benefits fall due, we actually can pay them accordingly.
Okay.
We also have to maintain their demographic data, that's their personal information, and keep it up to date.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. So you're my person then, right? Because
Yes, I am.
Because we're
I'm everyone's person when it comes to benefits.
So 49 years.
Yes.
That is a long time.
Yes.
So I would imagine you've seen a lot of things.
I have.
Can you talk a little bit about the changes you've seen within this department specifically? And I would say around equity, because that's what we're talking about. So over the years since you first started to now, is it good, better, not as good?
Well, with change, you would expect that things get better.
Yes.
Things have gotten better, because
Okay.
I can remember when I started, a lot of our processes were manual.
Okay.
Almost everything we do now is computerized. We even have a benefits administration system that it's just a matter of once the data is put into the system, you can actually push buttons and get your answers.
Okay.
So we have evolved that way.
Yes. When it comes to equity, though.
When it comes
Specifically for women, I would say. So your team, you said you have a team of 4.
Yes.
Are you all women? Is it a mix? Is it diverse?
Well, when I say a team of 4, the company benefits section is actually a combined team.
Okay.
But I was speaking specifically to the benefit side of it. We have a manager.
Okay.
He's a male.
Okay.
And the benefits team, the 4 of us are females. And the makeup of Comp and Ban is now 1 male manager, and about the compensation side is about 6 compensation administrators, and they're female.
Okay.
So 1 man and the rest.
The
of us
rest are
women.
women. So
And
you
in the department, in the Accountant General's Department, and in DEOD, and I separate it because Comp and Ban have just become part of DEOD. In that reorganization, we've been under DEOD for about 3 years now.
Got you. Okay.
But the makeup of DEOD is predominantly female, and the same thing in the Accountant General's Department.
Interesting.
Yes.
It is interesting. So before
I said it's predominantly female.
female.
Yes.
Yes. Which is good, I would think, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
So let me ask you though, what does equity mean to you?
Equity means fair and impartial treatment.
Okay.
That's what it means to me.
Okay. So define that a little bit. So when you say fair and impartial, what do you mean?
Meaning that everyone should be treated the same.
Okay. And do you find that that's the case in your department?
I do.
Okay.
And I also find that that's the case from what I know throughout government.
Okay. Well, that's good because you have, like you said, you're seasoned, so you would have seen and worked with different departments. Like you handle my benefits and you handle most of the other government departments' benefits. So you have the ability to have seen what it looks like in the various departments. And do you think that that is by design or because maybe the makeup of the departments are more predominantly female versus male?
I don't think it's by design.
Okay.
When you're looking at usually administrative roles,
Yes.
you'll
Yeah.
find more male in the accounting areas.
Got you.
Like in the accountant general. But we still have a lot of female accountants. So it's kind of a mixture, but I wouldn't say it's by design.
Okay. That's just how it ended up.
That's just how it
That's
ended
just
up,
how
yeah.
it ended up. Okay. So from your perspective, what's the difference between equity and equality?
Equality is where you're treating everyone the same, while equity is about giving persons what they need to get the job done.
Okay. So give me an example of that for you. Like what would that be for you personally, let's say?
In order for me to succeed at what I'm responsible for, I need to be given the tools to do that.
Right.
And even though equality means that we all are the same, you could find instances where there's an expectation. But if I'm not provided with what I need to succeed to get where I'm supposed to go, then that's going to defeat the purpose.
Yeah. And you're going to get a different result,
Yes,
right? Because
yes.
you might be a computer expert, right? We're both doing the same job, getting paid the same amount of money. But if you know more than I do, then there needs to be something done to allow me to catch you up, I guess, for lack of a better word,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay. All right. So let's move right along. From your experience as a seasoned employer, how can we ensure that equitable practices are widely acknowledged and accepted? So it sounds like, based on our conversation, that it just happens that in government departments, it seems to be that practices are done equitably. I spoke with Lloyd Quita, who represents the BPSU, and she said specifically, like, there are bands for salaries, for example, so that if everybody's doing the same job, then everybody's going to get paid within this band. So there's no issue of like, oh, am I getting paid the same as my male counterpart? Because you know for sure that it is what you're going to get paid. This is what has been pre-established. So are there some other examples that you can think of in your experience where government has put things in place to ensure that equity is being practiced across the board?
I can't say that things are put in place as such.
Okay.
But in government,
Yeah.
there is no differentiation between salaries paid to males or females because we have to have equal pay. It's not based on gender.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Basically, that's a democratic right that we get equal pay. But I would think that things that are put in place to improve employees' morale.
Okay.
And to improve retention of employees because you do want to keep good staff.
That's right.
Regardless of, in government it's difficult, you can't, because of the pay scales, you can't necessarily be compensated outside of that range.
Right.
So regardless of what your job is, your pay scale says what you're going to get paid.
Right.
And it won't matter whether you're male or female.
Well, I mean, for one, I think that's great because I think oftentimes, especially in the private sector outside of government, where you don't have those bands, so you really don't know, right? What you should be asking for or whether or not, I mean, you can look online, I guess, and say, okay, this job, people who do it get paid X amount, right? But without there being some kind of stipulation, it could be it's up to you, right, as an individual to go in and say, this is what I think I'm worth. And I think for women, historically, I feel like we have been disadvantaged in that regard. You know what I mean? It's just because I think we always start from a lower place. Maybe it's because of our makeup. We're like, oh, well, I think I'm doing what I need to do in order to command this top amount. And so it has a lot to do with, I think, the confidence, maybe. So in your experience over the last 49 years, have you encountered any young women like that, maybe, who were not as confident to ask for what they needed so that they felt that their role could be on an equitable playing field as maybe as their counterpart? Have you encountered that? And if you have, what would you say to that young woman?
No, I can't say that I have encountered that because of the nature of the gradings within government. Yes, you can review the ad and see what the job pays. But in terms of being able to ask for something outside of that salary, that usually doesn't happen in government.
Okay.
Because posts are graded according to certain criteria.
Okay. So it doesn't matter.
So it doesn't matter.
Okay.
If you're looking for a job that's paying that, and the job that you're applying for is paying that,
right? You just got to look somewhere else.
Or accept what the job is offering.
Right.
And if you're really that interested, then get your feet wet, and look for promotion. That's what I would say to a female.
Okay.
If you want to be, let's say, a photographer, and the grade that they're offering for that salary is 19 to 21, which goes up to maybe $89,000. If you feel your worth is $100,000, then I believe that it's okay to start at that lower rank and try to find something for the salary, for the money that you feel you're worth.
Right.
And in government, the grading structure or the salaries are just different.
Right, it is.
Posts are assigned salaries based on task, responsibility, and all those sorts of things. So it's not like in the private sector where you can go in asking for what you feel you're worth.
Right.
It doesn't work like that in government.
No, and you have to accept it, right? And if you don't like it, you got to go somewhere else. So let me ask you specifically about the department that you work in the benefits department. What are some of the things that you guys do within your department to practice equity?
So basically, our job is, like I said, to ensure that employees, and I'll classify them, or I'll refer to them as contributors, know their benefits.
Okay.
So in order to ensure that persons know their benefits, we actually do pension presentations or benefits presentations to new employees, orientation. We present at orientation for various levels. You have the service area, such as police, prisons, fire. We do presentations for them, and public servants, teachers, whomever. The requests some are scheduled through DEOD on a quarterly or a monthly basis. The others are on request.
Okay.
So we will actually present pension or benefits information, because we don't just deal with pensions. We're actually responsible for the enrollment for government employees onto the government employees health insurance plan.
Okay.
And enrollment of employees into the social insurance pensions. So we actually administer benefits for government employees.
Got you.
So we do presentations on a regular basis, and if one wants to know what their benefits look like at any time, we do one-on-one calculations for them and provide them with that information.
Okay.
And actually interview them. We do that same process when people actually retire.
Okay.
They come in and sit with us, and we go over the benefits with them, so they know what their pension's going to look like at any point.
And I mean, it sounds like working in your department or working within government, it makes it easy to practice equity, right? Because it's like, you know, it's basically we're all here, everybody's here, and so it removes that sometimes that unconscious bias, I guess, that we all have when it comes to certain things or specific things, I would say. So my last question for you would be, what would you say that we can do as individuals on a daily basis when we're making decisions to make decisions with equity in mind, right? And it kind of relates to that unconscious bias that we have. Everybody has it, right, from their life experiences. So what would you say we can do on a daily basis to think equitably?
I would say we need to learn to listen to people. That way we hear other person's perspectives. Also allowing others to speak so that they become part of the conversation and they can contribute to the conversation.
Yeah, I think that's important. I mean, people say they listen, but listening is active, right? Right? It's not like, I tell my husband all the time, he's like, I'm listening. No, you're not. You're not
listening, but do you hear me?
There we go. So we need to listen to hear and encourage others to become involved in the conversation as well.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I like that. Well, hopefully those who tune in to this will find that bit of information helpful and have a better understanding about how equity plays out, I guess, within government as a whole. But I want to thank you very much, Marilyn, for joining me today to talk and share a little bit of yourself and your experience as a seasoned person with us and in celebration of International Women's Day. So thank you for that.
Thank you very much for having me.